Hello, everybody. My name is Minseok. Cha is my last name. Today, I will talk about T-Group's major targets, characteristics, malware, tools, and connections. T-Group is a threat act that has been attacking corporations and organizations in Korea and Japan for more than 10 years. Firstly, I would like to talk to you about the threat actors that are mainly active in Korea. Many unknown threat actors have continued to attack Korea since 2008. This is an overview of the threat actors currently active and has a specific attack targets. Thus, it does not include those involved in ransomware, online game stealers, internet banking stealers, and coin miners. Of course, there are other groups that have not been classified, and I am planning to add the groups here if there are more discovered. Some threat actors are attacking Japan as well as Korea, and I will talk about T-Group. In 2016, Symantec first disclosed the T-Group, followed by many other secret companies publishing relevant analysts on the groups to reveal additional information. Even before being identified as T-Groups in 2016, they were mentioned by some security companies. The T-Group is also known as Bronze Butler, Bold Knight, and Neon. Their major targets were organizations and corporations in Korea and Japan. In other analyst reports, most of their activity were focused on around Japan. So I began to wonder what the damage they causes to South Korea. I was tracking down the related malware in this group, and I discovered that their attacks against Korean organizations have been ongoing since 2014. Moreover, the malware variants used by this group has been found in Korea since 2008. Their main targets were the Korean defense industry, national security, and political organizations. It also includes corporations in the field of energy, electronic, security, web hosting, IT services, and more. Without a doubt, they are expanding their target across the region. These groups' major attack vectors include spear phishing, watering holes, US flash drives, vulnerability, and the asset management program. In Korea, there was a case of an impacted executable file being spread through a US flash drive, while in Japan, it was spread by using vulnerabilities in an asset management program. According to others' reports, they also used other known vulnerabilities. This group has several characteristics. Since their main targets are Korea and Japan, they carry out customized attacks for these regions. The attack often registers and uses the domain right before the attack, rather than just hacking the existing servers. I discovered several malware generators, and I will share some of my findings with you. Firstly, the attack seems to be familiar with the Delphi language, since the majority of malware was written in Delphi. The attack also added some garbage code to disrupt the analysis. The attack attempted to bypass the security program by creating a file larger than 50 megabytes on the user system, because some security programs do not correct files with huge length. Lastly, they used with large console programs was mainly used to leak internal information. Here are some of the major attacks cases in Korea that I've discovered. In 2019, even attacks against web hosting or IT service companies were made. It's possible they want to supply chain attack. This group is known to have used various malware for their activities over the last 10 years. Some malware is no longer used, and sometimes a combination of malware was used for attacks. Threat actors generally used malware for attacks. Sometimes they would create new malware, but most of it used existing source code by modifying or revising the source code to create the variant. Although they can also create malware quite easily with malware generator tools. This is not the case for most attacks. The developers of this malware are also human. That being said, they cannot create new malware for every attack. A security company previously disclosed some of the malware generated used by the T group. While tracking the T groups, I also discovered some new malware generators that the T groups may have used during attacks or testing. Yeah, Amperse. Amperse is a tool that modifies PDF files to insert malicious code. Yeah, it was written in Chinese, and I don't know the Chinese characters. And this program was used in 2011 and early on in T groups attacks, and I found the chat. Yeah, it seems to be a prototype used during this attack. And this controller used the control malware during attacks have also been discovered. This controller can create and control netboy. Netboy is a backdoor written in Delphi language and has been detected from 2008 to 2017. The menu of this earlier controller is in Chinese. This is control of the early version of SXMM that was found in 2014. This controller file name was Ghost, and its menu was in English. Ghost is a Chinese backdoor, and each source code has been disclosed. Was it based on the Ghost source code? Looking at the other malware generators, it seems very likely that it was influenced by GhostRat. NetShadow, which was created in 2015, is similar to the existing SXMN controller. The attack seems to like Net or Shadow. Another malware generator also includes this Net or Shadow. The attack used steganography to encrypt and save the address for downloading files in the image files. This tool created encrypted image, which was also introduced by another security company in 2015. Yeah, SXMM2 Builder, which was created in 2015, generated an SXMM variant and can set the specific active time for the created variants. It set the time from to, yeah. And the attack seems to call this program Shadow Rock as well. The name of the generator also contains the word shadow. Please keep a note of this malware and UI because its name and user interface are similar to that of the another backdoor generator. This is Shadow Down, which creates the download. This generator creates the malware used with SXMM. According to the program information of a NetGhost controller found in 2017, it was based on Ghost 3.6. Various versions of the NetGhost controller have been discovered, and some of them ask for a password when being executed. Yeah, stage 1. Although I never directly encountered the T-group's attack vectors, such as attacks using document vulnerabilities watering hole, or asset management plan vulnerabilities. The first stage of malware being executed on the user system, usually dropper or the downloader. These are the files known as dropper. However, some of EX files impacted by thick USB. I will explain more about thick USB later on. It is common for attacks to use download. For example, Minseok down is used by thick group as well as Tonto group. Last year, I published an analyst report on the Tonto group, which included this download. A Japanese analyst who had been sharing thick groups related information with me was surprised to find Tonto group using our personalized backdoors in a campaign of the thick groups. Ghost Red was detected from February 2013 to February 2018. Its major strings such as API address and CNC are encrypted with the XOR. Generally, DF key. DF is a key. This CN server address was used by this download as well as other backdoors. The attack used dynamic DNS service to connect specific domains to their CNC servers. It is usually created 1 month before the attack. Goparo is download. This malware has not been reported in Korea. In our system, only the relevant variants in Japan have been reported to be affected. Thus, it is possible that the attack only distributed this malware in Japan. And some variants have digital signature is Herida electronic technology, but no company exists by that name. So I found some files digitally signed by this company, and I found additional files, wce.exe, that collect credential information. Stage 2. The thick groups used various backdoor and stealer. Dark was first discovered in 2009 and Korea in 2011. Each file length is usually around 30 or 40 kilobytes, but some variants are longer than 100 kilobytes. The attack wrote this malware in C language as well as the EST in Delphi language. The main function of this malware is to view file list, execute command using CMD, and manage file via uploading, downloading, deleting, and executing. This malware includes its version information in the body, and it has encrypted the CNC information at the end of the file. The earlier version of NetBoy in the form of DLL was discovered in Korea in 2008, but it has been frequently detected since 2010. Several variants exist, but their attack targets have not been identified. But in Korea, it was used to attack major enterprise and defense industry in 2015. This malware is written in Delphi language too, and its major string is XOR encrypted with the C7 key. They are also variant with the other key value. This malware has functions including keylogging, screen capture, process list view, and program execution. There was a change in the code in 2012, and the garbage value was added to in 2013 to make it difficult to decompile the code via IDE hexray. XXMM is the first discovered in 2015 and has been actively used since 2016. It's called XXMM because its initial version includes the XXMM string in the PDBs, but PDB has not been since December 2015. Generally, it consists of the drop, load, and backdoor. It communicates using the encrypt key or the becoming activity only at specific times. Since 2017, the XXMM branch has added the garbage value at the end of the files when creating the files to create a branch with a length of more than 50 megabytes. Once XXMM is executed, the system checks if the version is 32-bit or 64-bit to create the drop based on the exact version. This drop edits the garbage data and at the end of the files and create the loaded files with a length of more than 50 megabytes. The load includes the encrypted data. The loader decrypts the malicious code from the encrypted data and it executes malicious code in the memory. Daptor was first discovered in 2015 and is still being detected to this day. This malware was written in Delphi, again, and it mainly detected in Korea and Japan. Garbage code to disrupt analysis are also embedded in this branch. Some of the impacted systems are found to have keyloggers. There are many keyloggers. TickUSB is another unusual malware, different from the previous vectors. This malware leaks the information saved within the USB flash drive and modifies the exe files. Its variants have been discovered from April 2015 to November 2017. It is unknown whether they are no longer active or simply not detectable. The malware was first found in 2015, but each earlier version might have been active since 2012. TickUSB usually consists of DLL and exe file. Some variants can modify the exe files if it exists in the USB flash drive. The modified file adds function to allow downloaders of the malware. This malware was first disclosed by Palo Alto Networks in last year. What's interesting is that when an impacted system is connected to the specific Korean secure US flash drive, it brings a certain code from the specific area within the Korean secure USB flash drive. Unfortunately, the secure USB flash drive, because it is no longer used, thus it cannot be obtained. What code did the attack put into the secure USB flash drive? And what stage did the attack inject the code? Is there another malware that injects the malicious code during the productions of the secure USB flash drive or into a specific area of secure USB flash drive? This question will remain in mystery. After reading this blog, I visited Japan in October last year, and I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Hayashi about the tick groups. Since this blog was posted, I have made additional findings on relevant malware and variants. I concluded that the malware disclosed by Palo Alto was the initial version of a tick group, a TickUSB, and it is highly possible that it might have been active before September 2012. This is the flowchart of TickUSB. As stage 1, if the user executes the download, it downloads and runs the malware files. There are two methods of loading the malicious DLL file. The first method is being executed with the exe files by disguising as the required DLL file. Another method is by patching the exe file that exists in the system to load the malicious DLL when the program is running. This is first, and this is the second method. The file used for patching file is iff.exe. Stage 2. Once tick USB is loaded and executed via the exe file, draw either of these methods. It creates a log files and downloads additional files. The malicious DLL file checked whether the US flash drive is connected to the system. If the US flash drive is connected, it launches to malware in the form of the exe file. Some variants do not have a separate exe file. The exe file creates the log files again and collects the list of files saved in the US flash drive. Some variants modified the exe file in the following files exist in the US flash drive. Stage 3 is modified exe file. The execute file saved in the US flash drive injected the download once the exe file is modified and executed by the malware. Since it injects a specific executable file when modifying the file, any type of malware can be injected. Additionally, the malware patch when a specific Korean antivirus executable file is detected. The attack leaves behind programs that help with the transport to other systems. To the attacker, its installed secret programs are quite annoying. That's because those programs can detect and remove the malware. For this reason, the attacker produced a program to attack and disable the secret program. Anti-generate is a driver files that attacks that widely used the Korean antivirus program, such as Annet and Haori. They are Korean local antivirus companies. The HTTP 7.0 file is a tool discovered from the system impacted by tick USB. The patch of the discovered file disguised itself as the name of a Hangul word process file that is widely used in Korea. However, it is a tool that causes the app spoofing. Until 2013, WC has been used to steal credential information. Some files were digitally signed with your Heroida electronic credential used in the download. However, the attack no longer used WCE because Mimikatz. After 2015, the attack used Mimikatz to steal credential information. The attack uses Me, Me2, Me3, and Me32 as your file names. If a Mimikatz with such a name is detected, it can be considered as the sign of tick ghost attack. This is a program for network program management. It was first discovered in 2018. Both 32-bit and 64-bit version exist. It has not been confirmed yet whether it is a self-made program or the modified version of the program released on the internet. The very first thing that came to my mind when reading the author's secret researchers reported regarding these groups was, why is this malware connected to this group? I've found a pure interesting fact while analyzing the related malware. With different code for each malware, it's difficult to determine its similarities with just the code. However, some of them use the same encoding method, although it is not safe to say that the malware is from the same group just because it uses the same encoding method. Considering the other factors, it is fair to say that they are in the same group. There is some evidence that this malware is related to the group. The attacker is using a similar builders and controller programs. The name of these programs include Shadow, Net, with their similar user interfaces. Some download and tools contain signature of companies that do not exist. Similar file names are used as well. The name of the Mimikatz file is similar, and the name of keylog files are also similar or the same. There have been a number of cases that have been found together with several previously mentioned malware on the impacted systems. It may just be a coincidence, but it's hard to say it is when related malware is found on multiple systems. Sometimes different types of malware are connected via the same C2. In some cases, the malware used by T group is connected through the same CNC, but linked to other campaigns. This is the most mystery part. Some analysts believe that different groups use this infrastructure together. The attack pre-registered the domain regarding the CNC server that will be used for the attack. Okay, conclusion. I made some YARA rules, and I hope that we can discover the undetected virus using these YARA rules. And the TIC group is a threat actor that has been active in Korea and Japan for past 10 years. It seems like they are still active. However, a few questions remain unanswered. Are they the same group? It might be possible that various builders exist, and those who have also such builders could use this malware. Perhaps these builders are used in public to allow anyone to create malware. Another question is they're associated with the other threat actors. So far, they've been classified as different threat actors. But it seems like the malware in that group is used for sharing some common infrastructures such as CNC. Lastly, I will talk about collaborations. While tracking this malware, I have read the previous reports, analyzed related samples, and collaborated with Japanese and Taiwanese analysts to answer the question. I was able to discover additional related malware through the awesome reports that others had published. I sincerely hope to maintain our collaborative relationships, and at the same time, I hope my analysis report can be of the help to those who track and study this group as well. And it's my email address, and it's my Twitter, and if you have any questions, please contact my address. And thank you.